Hello, I'm Heather Morigeau. Today is day 28 of 100 days to launch. I have been gone with my partner for the last 3 days into Golden, BC and Invermere. We were doing a pilgrimage to go see my ancestors as they are portrayed in the museums of those locations. My ancestor is Baptiste Morigeau, who was the second generation who settled in the west on the prairies here. His father, Francois, came from Quebec with a Red River Métis woman, Isabelle Taylor, and they settled here. And Baptiste married two women, one who passed away after they had 2 children together, and the other, Teresa, was my great-great-grandmother, and she was a Cayuse tribe from the Kootenay Plains area, and she and him opened the first stores in that area. Golden, it was their first store in Golden, and then they went to Invermere and they opened the first store in Invermere. And this is unique because they were Métis and Aboriginal, and they were pioneering spirits. He was also one of the people who helped scout the pass, which is now today known as Rogers Pass. There's a mountain and there was a creek named in his honor, and so I want to really go back and reconnect with that ancestry. I can look at my parents and I can look at their work ethic and their commitment to taking care of their families and getting good educations. I can look at my grandfather and everything he has overcome and the things he's achieved, and it's inspiring. But I really want to connect to that pioneering spirit, someone who does something that's not typical, something that's really unique and challenging. He was a Métis man. His wives were both Aboriginal. He spoke French, English, and multiple dialects of Aboriginal tongue, up to 7 different languages. Both him and his sister Sophie. And so I really want to just activate that DNA in me, right? And just really reconnect with that. And during this time of truth and reconciliation, I know there's many Aboriginal and Métis people who lied about their heritage, and they did this because they would not get jobs, they would not get loans, they would not get housing, they would not be able to keep their children or put them in good schools. They would be denied. So there are mixed blood people and full Aboriginal blood people who can pass for white, and you would never know. And so they would lie. They would say, no, I'm not Aboriginal, because this was the best way for them to be able to integrate and be able to get ahead in life. And in truth and reconciliation, those who are Métis and are Aboriginal and have denied that heritage need to reclaim it and come into reconciliation with those roots. And so that's really what I'm trying to accomplish. I want to look at the medicines that my great-grandmother used to heal my great-grandfather and his siblings. I want to look at the music and artwork and beadwork and understand that they were the first ones to plant vegetables in those areas, and to understand that they opened those stores against all odds. It was rare for a Métis person to open a store, let alone, be so successful in what they accomplished. So I'll maybe one day do a video just on my family. I'm really passionate about genealogy. But if I'm moving forward with the social enterprise, with the social conscience of helping Aboriginal people become earth workers, if that is what they would choose to be, I want to make sure that I've reconciled with my history first and foremost. I also went to the local food dinner. This was the 9th annual, the second time I had been. Delicious food, wonderful people to connect with, and I learned about myself tonight. All my life I've had a very fiery temper, and this evening I was chatting with someone and explaining the social enterprise and how this is going to help marginalized people, and I was talking to them about another employer that I felt was only hiring privileged people who have driver's licenses, cars, that have good education and home studios, and it really came off to me as hiring people who already had advantages in life and privileges. And I was questioned on that. They said, I don't think that's privilege to have a driver's license. I think anybody could get a driver's license. And I had to point out that no, there are people who medically cannot access driver's licenses, sometimes due to epilepsy, mental health illness, medications that they take. They could be physically disabled in a way that does not allow them to typically drive or take a normal standard test, and it costs them extra money, and they might not be able to access that. If you don't have access to driver training or anyone who owns a vehicle, you're not going to be able to practice and know well enough how to drive a car. So no, it's not reasonable to assume that having a driver's license is a given that anyone can access. 75% of jobs require you to have a driver's license. So if you don't have one, which many people don't, it is a disadvantage and a barrier and a likely component to poverty. So I got pretty upset at this person. You could probably already hear it in my voice. I got pretty angry, and I was very disappointed to hear them say that privilege and oppression could be eliminated if people would just stop putting people in boxes and just remove all the labels that people have. And I understand where that person's coming from, but I would not agree that there would be suddenly some magical equality that would take over, and people who have been oppressed all their lives would suddenly be able to rise up to the occasion with no consideration for what they've gone through. So it was tough. I still get angry. I still feel injustice against people is one of the things that keeps me passionate and fiery and motivated. So I am glad when I'm reminded that my temper is still still got a short fuse, but I do work very hard to try and overcome that tendency to snap on people and to get irritated and cranky. And yeah, I think that's it for today. That's a long video. Thank you for sticking with me, and we're almost at 1 month, 30 days, so stay with me. Thank you.